out until.
Yeah, we had a good time.
And nobody's on.
But I still have to record it.
Is it really?
All right, good afternoon, everybody.
Okay.
Why don't we get started? I think everyone who's said who's attending is here. We have a number of people who couldn't make it today for various reasons, but we still do have a forum. So, and people attending. So I'll call the meeting of the Patent Tree Library Board of Trustees order. And before we go into, we will be going, as I wrote, we wrote to you, we're going into executive session shortly. I'll just stick to the secretary's report first, and then move on, review the minutes, and then move on to executive session. So the March 11th minutes, are there any questions or comments regarding that?
I don't think Warren Gray was at the meeting.
I think that's correct, yeah.
I thought I removed that. Okay.
No, we are gonna have the, presentation like that.
That's next.
Is Lauren Beret listed on those minutes?
Yeah.
Yes.
I could have sworn I removed, because I looked through them too, and I could have sworn I took that off.
I couldn't.
Okay,
Yeah, she is listed
great.
by video conference.
Okay, I missed that.
Right. I have one thing, and it's from the treasurer's report, and maybe Anthony can explain that, or we can put that in the minutes. There was a reference that Bath Savings, the $125 quarterly fee, we were not charged for that the last quarter of 2024. That's right. Could you?
We basically, we didn't have the shares there long enough,
Okay.
so they were kind to us and didn't,
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I think we should add that clarification, Jack, to the amendments to include that.
yeah,
Because otherwise
they came late.
Late December, yep.
So generally, they would have charged that, but given that it was later in the quarter, they just waived it.
Okay, that's what my recollection was, but I think for the minutes, we should say that the previous sentence says they are charging us this quarterly, and so they didn't charge us.
We could say it was waived for
Okay.
clarification,
Mhm.
that might be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever, well, waived because of.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing was under new business, I would just suggest adding the part about the spelling, you just put the date down. And it's.
May 9th.
Yeah. It wasn't in the minutes. Small thing.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments, changes, additions or additions to the minutes? Okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes as amended? Rebecca, it gives us a little more time to discuss the issues. So, is there a motion to go into executive session? Second, okay, all in favor? All right, it is 4:35. We will now move into executive session. Meeting is called the lightning round.
What? Would you like me to?
How about the total? Yeah.
Yeah.
If I leave in 7 minutes, in 10 minutes, does that put your ability to conduct business
No.
in jeopardy?
No, okay, we still have the four.
Okay. That is, I'm not voting on anything.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Jack, for your records, Rebecca will tell you what the update on the Apple campaign is.
As of this morning, we have raised a total of $1,456,093. That includes about 949,000 cash in hand, committed gifts, and 506,000 in outstanding pledges.
All right, thank you, Rebecca.
Board meeting number 2. Everybody really loves second Tuesday. If that's good time for board meeting.
Okay. So now we'll go back.
Anytime, if any of you have things that come up for you after you've slept on everything we talked about, you know where to find me. Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Okay. So now we'll go back to the regular agenda. My only comments are that we need capable, willing, energetic people for the development committees. And also a representative from the board, I think as a liaison, to the building and technology committee. It's important. Karen Robbins asked about that in particular. I reached out to one person so far, wasn't available, at least to do it last time. But you can see the exchange, the communication between the two groups will be important. And so it would be great to have someone from the trustees who at least just sits in on the meeting, don't have to be in it, but just to be aware and to convey anything from the board that the board wants to convey to the committee. So please consider when they meet. They meet once a month, Fridays at 7:30 by Zoom. Please. Let's go on to the librarian's report.
So I'll keep mine short, actually, very short. I think you're all aware and have seen, my monthly report, but also seen our posts. We're in National Library Week. But we also, face a lot of challenges. So, with the changes and the reduction in funding, and potentially the closing of the IMLS. Institutes for Museums and Library Services departments, federal department will have some effect on all libraries, all main libraries. We don't know exactly how yet. And so in fact, there was an all statewide Zoom meeting today at 3:15 that I couldn't attend because of the board meeting, but I'll watch the recording. We're going to start to hear more, but if you read what I wrote, it does affect things. So basically, this Maine State Library, I think it's about $1.5 million every year from federal monies, and how that trickles down to the various libraries. We know it's things like the Maine Digital Library, all of those databases. We know that we get 1 day of subsidized van delivery from the state library. I don't know exactly where that pot comes from. Our van delivery will either have to come up potentially with that money ourselves, or go down another day in delivery. Things like cloud library. So we aren't fully aware of so that's what we're hoping to get some guidance from and hear more from the state library in the weeks to come. I'm sorry, excuse me. So what we know is that we do receive internet, broadband, we receive fiber internet. We don't currently pay for that. That comes through federal monies. So that's also could be, but on the tune of exactly how much and exactly what, those answers I don't have. But it will have, we do receive, we don't receive direct funding, but we do receive indirect funding, and it will definitely affect us, every library in Maine, especially the smaller libraries that maybe only get the 1 van delivery a week, and it's subsidized by the state. So just be aware, and advocate is really important. Contact your local, as you know, contact your state representatives, your federal, anybody that will listen, and anybody, so I have links through our post to the ALA's advocacy site, which gives you more information on things you can do. And of course, it'll be extremely important when we get to town meeting time, even to talk about it even more. So
Suki asked if there's something we can do at the state level.
Know that there is, right? We can write a letter, to our congressional delegation or whatever department this came from.
right, I don't know what the state.
State level.
They're introducing a bill tomorrow, I think, they're introducing a bill tomorrow to form a committee that Lori Fisher, the state librarian, is going to chair, and they're going to have representatives from different libraries all over the state.
Oh, great.
So
So
that's,
that's not legislative bill, is it?
it is what?
It is.
It's a legislative
It's a
bill, right? Yeah, yeah.
legislative-
I just saw something come through.
Okay,
Yeah,
Tomorrow there's.
More
an
to come,
advocacy
but-
day as well.
Right.
That's good, yeah.
but no in the morning and then,
Yeah.
motion to, accept the consent agenda? Second, all in favor? All right, we have a number of reports, let's take them as a group, any comments? Changes or questions regarding any of the committee reports? Peggy?
In the building and technology,
Mhm.
there was a comment about, in fact, it was the reimagined spaces. And it said that because it's a higher cost, that there were questions, there could be an impact on our AV and HVAC systems, and I don't really know what that.
Well, I think, so the question for in the AV was this room, the impact being if we reconfigure or remove this wall, the screen is gonna have to move and the cameras may have to move. So there's gonna impact the system. We're gonna have to add on to it or move things around. So that's what the AV means. It's this room if we make changes, and we are aware of that there will be an impact on the system. Like this, the screen won't be able to stay there if, that kind of thing.
I thought it was implying that if we don't do something, you'll.
No, it's if we do, same thing, we just have to make sure if we're enclosing spaces, which we're not really doing, so, do we need to move? Do we need a additional, VR, heat pump? Do we have the appropriate for the space? So that's all that means, if we make changes.
Suki?
The finance committee, the financial review, that's all done and it's good, yeah?
That's good, another question.
We're still going over it.
Right.
We did get it finally.
Yeah.
Right.
But, and we didn't really have sufficient time to comb through it before we can really bring it to the board to share.
We have a meeting on the books, actually, if you go.
Yeah.
Next week.
Separate next week.
On the 17th, yeah, I think,
I couldn't remember what day it was, but I know it was there.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Holding us back, are we thinking of keeping him or?
Very definitely thinking of switching.
We were thinking,
Yes.
we're in the
Yeah.
process of looking for options. We're looking at all of our options
Yes.
right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That came up during the long wait,
That was
but it wasn't an opportune time to make a change because it was on that's practically
Thank you.
tax season, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the questions of the B and T committee, so you got bid for that technology review consultant, right?
Right.
Yes.
What exactly, what technology is gonna be reviewed? I mean, what's an example of the thing that?
They're looking at our current network. They're looking at our current configurations to make sure that we are, that our firewall, everything that we've in place keeps us, they're looking at our security, network security. They're not looking to talk about, each one of our, it's overall system health. Making sure, and that's going to help inform us for our technology plan, or if there are things we need to put in place that we don't already have. And why we use a third party is we have Data Defined as our outsourced IT, but we need somebody else besides them to do this work. Right, we won't, that's, so that's what it is. It's really assessing our vulnerabilities with security. Do we have the,
So it's mostly about network.
it's networking, right?
Okay,
It's
so
the-
it does feed into the strategic goal of having an IT, or a goal of having an overall IT strategic plan, right?
Yes, the technology, but it absolutely feeds
Technology,
into it.
yeah,
Right.
okay. All right. Seems clear. Let's see, anything else? Here we go. The treasurer's report. Okay. We have one item to actually.
Up here. All right, so I'll start with the value of the endowment. So as of yesterday, 4/7, is $7,879,649.87. I do want to mention, just because I knew I'd hear a gasp, is that compared to the last time we met, or right around, as of the March 10th, it was 549,401.71. Since then, we took an $80,000 drop.
Yeah.
So the difference or unrealized loss since in about a month was about 589,000, give or take, which is about 7%, which isn't great, but we know that the global market took a hit of about 7 to 8 trillion. So overall, well, it's went a little haywire. So I still think, that being said, it could have been worse, and maybe it still can be. But anyway.
For that, this is an IRB on.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's where we are. So, with that, we do have a procedural matter to discuss. Which is, in our discussions around hiring, Leadwell as our consultant, we mentioned that we would be using a special draw from the endowment to fund paying for that, given that it wasn't in the budget to do so. So we need to officially vote to do that. So I will move to allow a special draw equal to the total due to the Leadwell group. That amount is just below 17,000. We just don't have the exact amount here, so the motion is for the total due to the Leadwell group, which is
No greater than.
no greater than 17,000.
I think it might be a little more, I could go grab I have the invoice.
We have not.
Okay.
I have an invoice. too.
Okay.
Yeah, it was- yeah, at least the partial invoices. Yeah.
Specify, is it from the endowment, so is it from capital reserve or? the endowment, or is
It
the
would
same
be
idea?
coming from the, I mean, at this point, I would say would be coming from the endowment. If we want to talk about capital reserve, we certainly could, but we had talked in our conversation about taking a drop from the endowment.
Yeah, it's not really, it's not the money that, the purpose for capital reserve. It's for
Yeah.
building and other things, so,
Yeah, it's not really for that.
okay. So,
That's the motion on the
If
table.
we wanted to borrow it from ourselves, like from this capital campaign or from CD that's designated for another purpose. When we draw into the endowment, we're at a big disadvantage drawing when the market's down like this, so.
I guess that's what I was
Borrow
wondering.
from the capital campaign cash reserve,
Their
pay
cash
it back
position.
when the market
Well,
recovers.
What I can do, I don't have to actually draw from the endowment yet. I can wait till it goes back up as long as our cash flow's okay. And then draw, I don't have to draw this minute. But, at some point I'll need the cash.
My thought in, Tommy and I discussed this a little bit, is that eventually it's going to come from the endowment. Is if we want to, here's my suggestion, is we get the vote to have the approval for the special draw, and then we have some internal conversations on how we want to handle it in the immediate term. And then when we find the time is right, we can then make the draw. But I think
Yep.
we get the approval now to have that approval for when the time is right. And if we can do some maneuvering internally or have the cash flow to handle it, then that's fine. But I think we just need to have the approval.
Yep.
So that we can do it when necessary.
with that being said, I think the partial invoice has been with us now for what, week and a half?
Yeah, it's due on the 30th.
Okay,
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of paying invoices when they're due.
Oh, yeah, we'll pay it. It's just as long as, it's not a question of paying it.
no, okay, just for how much pressure we're on, time pressure.
Absolutely, no, we're well within, we're good.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
we don't want to be
Yeah.
seen as.
No, for sure. No, no. I'm with you on that.
Okay.
We're well within our
Okay.
timeframe on that. We'll make sure it's done
Thanks.
on time.
Okay. Anything else?
We're just ready for a vote. We have a second and we're just ready for a vote.
All in favor?
What are we voting on? How much?
17?
17?
No,
No more than 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the second?
I did. Is that okay?
That is all I had. Did anybody have any questions? We didn't really have anything nominal to report on the PNL or cash report. Did anybody have any questions for me? All right, that's all I have for.
Okay. I think we have nothing. We have anything for development, or Samantha, do you?
I mean, I have a development report, but we have nothing in the consent agenda.
Okay, right.
Are
So
we-
why don't you-
Yeah, do you want me, okay, so I'm giving this Riley and Christian in the form, water with Brittany or something. Let's see, so the annual fund as of today, gifts in hand is 117,124. And we have 10,186 in open pledges. A lot of those I'm fairly certain will be paid. A lot of them are monthly donors and some spending bee pledges. So overall, we're at like 127,300 roughly, which is ahead of last year by about 5,000. So that's good, because we were behind for a little bit. We did do some, Library Giving Day was really successful, and we'll never do Giving Tuesday ever again after this. Giving Tuesday, we have to compete with nonprofits all over. Library Giving Day, we only have to compete with other libraries, and so it made sense. So we raised $1,890. I don't want to know if you had a Facebook fundraiser. I'm like, I just want to stick at that number, but I'm sure some will come in, because I believe Eileen had I think
Uh,
I
uh-huh.
did.
uh-huh.
a fundraiser, yeah, and I did, but I counted mine in there, because I know what it is. It was really great. It was, what I learned was most of the money comes in offsite. People don't come to the library. They gave $18 in cash at the library, and they gave almost 500 at brackets. So, and then we had a lot of online gifts, because I had sent out an impact email to all of our active donors with a second gift ask. A couple of people made it on Library Giving Day. Yeah, overall, I think all the online stuff and the being offsite was really great. Out of some of that relationship with brackets, I kept Kim informed all day. And it kind of was just like, this is so great, we love being here. And then she emailed me the next day and asked if they could be our coffee supporter going forward. So.
I didn't know that.
That's what Roger said.
Probably a 15-minute conversation with Kim about reading.
Oh.
And I was there today, she took me into the little place that they.
Yeah.
They have a book cart there.
Oh,
And one of the cashiers wants to volunteer.
great. So I think that was really great. So what I've done is given brackets business supporter level at the basic, sustainer. So because that's a really generous gift, it'll be every first Friday from September to May. We'll still not do it in the summer this summer, just because it ties Hannah and I to have to be here on a Friday to pick up coffee and clean up coffee and all of that. It's a big coordinated effort between the two of us, so this is gonna be really helpful.
That's good to know too, because then when we're in brackets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Danielle,
absolutely.
Danielle
Danielle,
is the one who does
What is
the,
this?
Danielle is the one who's on the
deli.
the deli thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's the one who
With
suggested it.
The long blonde hair, usually in a ponytail.
Mhm.
And she's the one whose idea it was. She asked him if we should do
Mhm.
it, so.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Yeah.
somebody goes to the person.
yeah,
She
Okay.
used it.
Okay.
Yeah, can you think about on the email?
yeah,
Just, or a Facebook.
Facebook or.
yeah, we'll
Something
make we
really-
haven't even talked about it, but,
Just check with them first before you do it.
oh, no. Yeah. So let's see, what else has happened? Spelling bee.
Spelling bee.
Spelling bee is happening. Yeah, that we have officially 6 teams. I would like to announce that we have returning teams, but we have the returning champion team who are now seniors. I've really been pushing, because I know one of them since he was a little
We
kid.
have 16.
So I've really been pushing him. So we have
Six.
6 Six. Not 16. I can't manage that many people. So out of the six, 5 of them are returning teams. So, 2 from the high school, John Stanton's got a junior group and Brian's bringing the senior group. We do have Hannah and Sarah asking our teams as well, and if I need another sponsor, I'll find another
So
sponsor.
are we the only old people?
No, don't worry, the PFL movie group is there too.
Yeah, I and Liverpool.
Yep,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, we're third last.
Well, I'm gonna bet against
Oh.
This is not a betting game.
We're not that.
Unless the library gets the profit.
Yeah.
So one thing that we do need is to make sure everybody gets their tickets. And I'm gonna check in with the church probably next week to see how those are going. Cookie is gonna start putting posters up over the week, this week. She has them ready to go. It's gonna start getting blasted out. We've got a press release that's gone out. I've given Hannah all the stuff that she needs for social media. So that'll all start going out. And we need auction items still. The silent auction is gonna launch at the B and run for a week afterwards online only, so the more the better, experiences would be really great. But gift cards or things, I don't really care, anything to fluff it up would be great. And I'll take,
Sign up there, but you can't bid on anything.
you'll be able to bid online. We'll have, I haven't worked out all the details, but you can bid on your phone, just like we've done with the tiny art auction. But I'll also probably have a couple of iPads there on site in case somebody doesn't have their phone or doesn't, and I'll try to have a volunteer or 2 to kind of help out with that. It just makes it a lot easier on our part to not have to lug all the stuff all over the place. We will bring it there that night, but then I won't have to put it out, in the library and take up space and all of that, which is always so cumbersome. So, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. I've got upcoming, there'll be another spring mailing. I've just been working with the Friends to iron out all of their new stuff with their new president, but their membership mailing is out. And if you received it, I strongly encourage you as board members to become Friends members. They've done a great job.
We know your membership.
Yeah.
Yes. They've done a great job with the membership this year. I really enjoyed working with Maggie on getting that out. We've been working on all sorts of things to get it connected to our database, so, yeah, it's been a big
I want to say that
undertaking.
the flyers look great.
Maggie,
I've seen them around,
Yeah,
they
Maggie
really
did.
catch your eye when you go, I've seen them downtown businesses.
she came to our membership meeting with PDFs of flyers and
Yeah.
letters and forms, and I was just so excited I didn't have to do any of that. I did redesign a little bit and update the rack card for them recently. So that's all been happening, and then I'm excited tomorrow at 6 a.m. I have to drive down to Nashua, New Hampshire, and I'm gonna go to the Association of Fundraising Professionals Conference for 2 days. And I'm gonna have a lot I'm gonna be learning, but my focus is gonna be on planned giving, major giving, and corporate giving. So I should have lots to say when I come back.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing it, give us
Yeah.
some report from what
Yeah,
you're
absolutely, I'm
reading from that,
excited.
Samantha.
My first overnight where I get to stay and do 2 nights and not go home in between, so I'm excited. That's it for development.
All right, I know we got a little bit about the latest town meeting, but which was West Bath, I think was mentioned in the notes. Does anybody have more questions, or Tommy, you had written about it, right, in the
Finance committee minutes.
yeah. So it was a less than cheery, a welcoming reception from West Bath, which is not entirely a surprise based on past history.
It goes to the select board next week with the budget committee, so then the select board will make a decision
Oh, I
on
thought they
whether.
already did that.
West Bath does it in a few stages, ultimately it goes to the budget town meeting, which will be the most important.
Okay,
But it's nice to get as many of us select board to do a thumbs up.
So do you think it will go to the town meeting? I mean,
Yes.
Oh, no, it goes.
Oh, yeah.
It
It
may not
will,
go,
okay.
it may not go, because our warrant has budget advisory committee opinion, and it has 2 parts, so you can see what it's like recommendation.
Yeah.
So it's, some of our town meeting stuff's become a little boilerplate, but when you get a mixed vote, then it's a little more.
Yeah. So I guess we'll which is the first town meeting,
Mhm.
Yeah, ours is until May 22nd.
When does yours?
April 30th.
Oh, I meant to send out, I didn't, I put together a spreadsheet of all of the dates for all the town meetings and the times and locations.
Okay.
I'll email that.
I mean, I think it's not a great time, right? I mean, a lot of our retirees and myself. Yeah, so, yeah.
But it's not a great time, but libraries are even more important now.
Well,
And so, I mean, I think that's what we have to remember is, you know, we're all wearing our library hats here. Well, it's more important to have libraries, the funding for the libraries in not great times. Right. So, right. So, and again, just to remember, you know, while it's, I don't think it's an 8%, but when you look at some of the towns, it's $2,000 or $3,000. I think in Woolwich, maybe it's $6,000. So I don't know, that's gonna, you know, it might, when you think of a percentage, but it's not a percentage of $1 million, it's a percentage of, you know, 60-some thousand. So while I do realize that it is an increase, but I think in times like these and in times of crisis, because I've been there, I've worked in libraries, they're even more important.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good. That's a good tax day for a member when we're at town meeting. Right.
Right. So we'll have some language, I'm going to send out, they're gonna be at least to Woolwich and West Bath cardholders that are adults are gonna get an email reminding them of town meeting with some attached information. So,
Stuff that's gonna go
yeah,
out
so
as
there's
well.
gonna be a lot, that's gonna happen. We're gonna reach out to the corporators of the towns and remind them and,
But
So we really gotta fill it
Yeah.
with supporters.
But then they have to know that if they reduce their amount, then they have to. Right.
right, that I don't wanna,
Go on an alternative.
yeah. So, I mean, but reducing the amount will have to come from the floor at town
Right,
meeting.
right.
I think
So-
they added- It's a binary
You
thing.
need to select word.
Right.
No.
Well, and yeah.
Right.
so-
And I think if we would just rely on the resident of the town to speak up and say, hey, you know what I mean, to remind what it means on the floor, because we can't.
I did see Bath put out in their front and center newsletter, their budget.
budget.
Yeah, and it does have the library's request in there and an explanation of the request. I sent it
Right.
over to Leslie right before this meeting.
Yeah,
but-
so,
So that's out there and they budget workshop every week during April.
yeah, so well, and Anthony I are going to the one on April 30th. I think it's at 6 PM. So that's,
Somebody of the town does propose to reduce the amount. What's the message from the board of trustees
Yeah.
to that person?
Oh,
Because that's gonna be an important,
Mhm.
I don't think the select board in Woolwich is really, I mean, we can say something, but I think the authoritative message should be that the board of trustees has decided that if you don't get the full amount, everybody's gonna lose their library card.
it's right now, it's our bylaws. It's in the bylaws. It's not what the board decides, it's what the organization, I mean, it's currently, that's how our bylaws are now, it's our policy.
So what
Well,
we
it's not-
could do
well,
is, if that passes and we are no longer part of this, we can, I mean, the other alternative is that we can put aside that amount of money and whoever wants library directly will pay for it with that money.
So
right?
when this happened in Phippsburg,
Yeah.
that's what they did, they approved a less amount and we said we can't accept
And
it.
then
We
did they
did,
put aside a certain amount of money?
no, they did not.
They-
Because they didn't want it, yeah, no, this exact thing happened. They did vote to give us less, and it was very clear that we could not accept it. I can find the letter that we wrote saying
No,
that we can't accept it.
We could just say that. I mean,
Yeah.
you can just.
Right, I think that's what happens at town meeting is somebody has to say, this is what's gonna happen. If you
Okay.
vote for less, it means don't receive. It's black or white, yeah.
It's not gonna help the library.
No,
No.
If you were to do that, it's the same as withdrawing your budget declaration, so the library would have to go back and we would have to make cuts.
Right.
That's the
Probably the
message.
first
I'm not supporting.
That's the
I'm just
message.
telling you,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, we would have to make cuts, and then we'd have to look at the overall budget, probably the first thing we cut is hours, right?
Maybe, but all of those residents would lose their card, but they would no longer be a member if they don't give.
Right, but
Right.
but if she says, even if she sets aside cards, money for people to buy cards, it won't be enough, and we will have to just.
We
be
will,
clear.
right, the value of that card will be diminished. That's what I tell people. Because it will be a library that will be open less hours, that will have less collections, less staff,
That's
right?
what we did in
Because
Pittsburgh.
we can't count, Rick's right, we cannot count on that money. That's, if,
Right, yeah.
right.
Okay. All we know.
So at the next meeting, our next board meeting, you'll know.
Well, no, before then.
The next board meeting is the 13th of May.
So, yeah, we'll definitely know
Right.
I will say, I think the real crunch is gonna come next year,
when it goes up again.
huh?
It doesn't go up again.
Because everybody's gonna be really suffering, plus the
Mhm.
board, there'll be lots of demands.
Mhm.
Old business. Any old business? Okay. Nothing, there's nothing else that people want to raise? Okay.
Oh, well, this was the visioning thing, but that was.
Mission and vision.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just ask a quick,
Yeah.
that we can just, I mean, we can just.
Move that, I suggest we move that to next
Yes,
month.
I do too.
I agree with that. Peggy?
Just quickly, has there been any initiation of discussion with EMC about this whole solar issue?
Ah, yeah,
It's-
yes, but I not, I did, send an email to the president and to let him know, and what he didn't do, I kind of asked for something, in sort of a written explanation, which they did not give me. But I know if you would like, if the board would like, I can, and I said we may invite, if the board chooses, we may ask someone from ENC to come and speak about this at a board meeting. So, and that's going to be up to the board. If you'd like to have someone from EMC come, I can tell you, I don't have a lot to share right now, but we are, the Building and Tech Committee has doing some investigating on what it would cost to sort of make us whole with the solar productions if we purchased into a solar farm. So there are some options for us by which we can do as well and use the monies that we saved from the reduction in the panels to apply to a solar farm. So they're working on that now as an option, but I don't have, Karen Robbins has kind of started this initiative with the committee, and so I have very little information. I've just got some real basic numbers, which don't have all the information to share with the board. But what I will tell you is, and this will be coming up in the Building and Technologies, is that there may be some options for us, not that saying that we shouldn't have EMC come and talk about what happened. But they're not putting anything in writing.
Those are two separate things.
They're two separate things, but I wanted to just let you know that there are some options, because we're all very disappointed in this reduction, but that they are two separate things, but there are possibilities.
Yeah.
The accountability piece.
I'm sorry.
The accountability piece, that there's really been no answer, and with a
So
40% reduction, that's.
So that is where, right, and so I can ask them, if you'd like me to ask them to come to the next board meeting to.
Writing.
So I sent an email and I've had no response on that. So it's really up to the board. I don't know what you want your next steps to be, and you can certainly let me know. If you want someone from EMC to come to a board meeting, I'm sure they'll.
Then have something.
Right, I mean, we know what the explanation is from the building and.
Why it happened.
Right, so I can ask them again. I did ask them, and I had like 3 questions in the email that I asked, that I knew the board had specifically asked. And I put that in my email, and I have yet to hear. I will send something again, but if I don't, if I don't get a response, then maybe maybe Carl can send,
So I was gonna say, maybe we should do it, you can do it even in the letter and I'll sign it.
Right, so maybe we need something more formal, but I have not heard back from them and I did
And make
ask.
certain we invite them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because otherwise it keeps getting pushed ahead.
Right, because we have to make sure that we don't get charged if there are increased costs for the panels.
We already signed
No,
the,
I don't think I'm too worried about that. I think
No?
no, I think I'm way more concerned with what we've already talked about, where this was a gross oversight.
Right.
And why this shouldn't happen, and I will reserve my thoughts for when we're not being recorded.
so I will let EMC know, the same group I sent it to, that at the board meeting, they asked for something in writing to explain what happened. And I'll say that if I still don't get a response, then we'll take it to the next level of a letter.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said,
Thanks for bringing that up.
is there a motion? Second. All in favor? Okay. Thank you.
Oh, this next will be the 13th.
Yeah.
Okay. Stop it.